Where should I direct my attention? In any given situation, I am able to become irritated. When it comes to your past, your present, and your future, which one do you tend to concentrate on more? However, where do you spend the majority of your time? We all spend all three of these things. The majority of people spend a lot of time dwelling on the past, and the problem is that you can't alter it. The majority of us who are achievers have a tendency to concentrate on the future, but this is despite the fact that there are many joys in the present. You have a persistent preoccupation with what you do not have rather than what you do have. You are concentrating on things that you are unable to manage. So, there are two different worlds, right? The external environment as well as the interior world is not something that we have the ability to control. We have the ability to affect it. We have the ability to regulate what is going on inside of us, and we also have the ability to control what we choose to concentrate on. We are able to decide the meaning, and we are able to manage the meaning. The meaning is created by us, and we have the ability to choose what to do. If we are able to make those three choices, then we will have complete power over our lives. Furthermore, all of the tension and nonsense tends to go, particularly if we are attempting to achieve something in order to serve something that is greater than ourselves. It is impossible to serve something that is more important than yourself and not benefit from it. When you want to boost your self-esteem, engage in an activity that is relevant to more than just yourself. There are two feelings that can ruin your relationship, your business, and your life. We are all aware of these feelings. It is a mixture of fear and wrath. Showcase both of the extremes. At the same time, somebody cannot be thankful and afraid at the same time. He is unable to feel both gratitude and anger at the same time. However, when you look at someone like Steph Curry, you notice that he is able to shoot the ball from in close proximity to the half-court line. It's not even that he looks, because he is aware that it has already been received, he simply turns around and waves, and his swoosh causes the crowd to go absolutely insane. In addition, when others see that, they think to themselves, he's not his bell, he is. That man is unfathomable. That man is unfathomable. The greatest three-point shooter in the history of the game is him. Unlike anyone else, he is unique. The thing that people fail to take into consideration, however, is that it is not any kind of gift. Every day, he fires 500 rounds into the air. On no account less than that. It is 7 days a week. In his professional career that spans over 15 years, he has been doing it since before he was even in college. He has been doing it for more than 15 years. The man who raised him was his father. Consider the fact that he took 3,500 shots every week, 168,000 shots in a year, and 2 million shots during the course of his 15-year career in the NBA. He is able to make 3,600 shots, which is not even 1/10 of 1%. When I tell others about it, I tell them that you get rewarded in public for what you do in private. It seems to me that everything that occurs has a purpose. In my opinion, there is a more important goal. I believe that it is my responsibility to locate it. My belief is that life happens to us, not to us, but it is up to us to figure out what it is that we are doing. You should be aware that you are going to wrestle with things that are both internal to you and external to you. On the other hand, if you keep going, you will eventually be able to defeat your dragons. And you come out as the hero of your own life, and you have something to give that isn't a bunch of garbage. You did not find this information in any other source. 'Cause it's a new degree of ownership. You know? It's something you've lived that you want, something you've lived and everybody can feel that you've lived it. And then just so you know, as soon as you do that, it happens once more. Apparently you decided to embark on yet another expedition. You have reached a brand new degree of difficulty, and you are required to go with it. You know, it just seems to go on forever. However, it is a thing that makes life incredibly, incredibly lovely. What is the point of persons who are constantly very critical of themselves? Acquire the knowledge necessary to boost their self-esteem a little bit more. You know, I don't believe it's terrible to be hard on yourself as long as you also celebrate when the triumphs happen. I don't know if self-esteem is the answer, but I do think it's okay to be harsh on yourself. When I was a youngster, People said this to me and that to me, and it's convenient that you remember those things rather than the positive things that also occur. However, you should know that a lot of people will tell you that I have low self-esteem because of this. Without a doubt. However, I believe that it is more vital to acknowledge that self-esteem is something that is earned. You are the only one who can earn it within yourself. You won't be able to build up your self-esteem simply because everyone compliments you. It is possible for someone to tell you throughout your entire life that you are amazing, that you are a genius, that you are lovely, and that you are handsome, and you will not believe them. It is possible for someone to tell you that you are a piece of junk and that you will never become anything. There is also a party that you may say, and I will demonstrate to you how many individuals have them. And after that they grow and eventually depart from it, right? In a nutshell, the key to achieving high levels of self-esteem is to engage in activities that are really challenging and to push yourself to your limits. Not only is it not telling people, but it is also not virtue signaling. Regarding the matter, it is what you know deep down in your heart that is true, and the more you engage in activities that are extremely challenging, and especially activities that are significant, which means that they are not just about you, the greater your esteem will be. Finding something that you care about more than yourself is, in my opinion, the single most important thing you can do to boost your self-esteem. When you discover something that is more important to you than you are, you suddenly find that you are only thinking about yourself all the time, and your entire sense of self-esteem is completely blown away. That is the true question: what is it that you want? In order to live a life that is truly remarkable. To me, that means living your life according to your own terms. There are many who believe that it is three lovely youngsters within a white picket fence. It is the construction of a multi-billion-dollar enterprise, according to some people. If you are someone else who is composing poetry instead of looking for somebody else, it is like, all right, what is it that you truly want out of your life? And bringing yourself into alignment with moving forward in the direction of what you truly desire. There is a sense of purpose in life that cannot be substituted by self-esteem, praises, or being nice to yourself. If you are able to do that in a way that also makes you feel like you are serving others at the same time, then you have achieved a sense of meaning in your life. In addition, I do not believe that it is terrible to be hard on oneself. I am a fairly hard person to be around. I'll tell you the truth about it. One of the most common ways that people become unduly critical of themselves is by making comparisons that are illogical. You are making a comparison to the life of another individual whose journey encompasses a completely different experience and a completely different course. We all go through different periods of development and rely on different things. There are a variety of things that every one of us desires, but at some point you do wake up and realize that you have to be tough with yourself. But berating oneself is only going to make you feel less energetic. And as your energy levels decrease, you produce less, you don't have the same degree of joy, you don't have the effect that you want to have, and you don't have the enthusiasm that you truly want to have. All of these things are a result of your decreased energy levels. Therefore, I consider it to be something that is worth working toward in order to improve your own self-esteem, but in reality, it is not the secret. If you can find anything else that you are more obsessed with than yourself, you will be able to generate a level of energy that will motivate you over the course of a longer period of time. Initially, I started with a fuel, which was something along the lines of I'm going to show 'em the emotions that motivated me were wrath and disgust. Just so you know, I'm going to show you something of that nature, but that fuel doesn't last very long. After that, the next fuel that people typically utilize is the phrase I have to be successful. Underneath that, however, there is a small dread that is pushing them, and that fear is something along the lines of what if I don't? When compared to a knowing, it is similar to the idea that if you offer your 100% every day, your gifts will make room for you. In addition, it is similar to having the knowledge that everything is going to be just all right. The next level is when you begin to know who you are, and you are no longer attempting to prove it to yourself or to other people. This marks the beginning of the following level. I see. And it's just that you do want to be of assistance. There is a distinction between what I would term push motivation and pull motivation. Push motivation is when you say to yourself, I'm going to make this happen. And a tremendous amount of willpower is required. I am aware that you possess a great deal of self-control. As for me, I do as well. However, there is a limit to the amount of willpower that one can exert, while there is no limit to the amount of pull that one can exert. When there is something amazing that you want to serve, things are considered to be whole. Something that you are or something that you have an obsession with, whether it is to create, to do, or to make happen. You don't lose that energy, you don't lose those components, and you are able to laugh and enjoy yourself along the road. And that pretty much sums up everything, doesn't it? It is essential, in my opinion, to be aware that energy flows wherever one's attention is directed. This is a cliché, but it's accurate. Do you agree? In point of fact, perhaps a more straightforward way to put it is simply to say that we do not experience life. Not a single one of us does. We live the life that we choose to concentrate on. Therefore, whatever is incorrect is always available at any given moment. That is the correct answer. Accordingly, it is not about having a happy attitude, rather it is about having intelligence. You have to take a look at the consequences of the things that you are believing, and you have to look at them and ask yourself, where is my focus going at? There's always the possibility that I'll be upset over something. There is always something that I can discover to be grateful for or to be joyful about, and this always leads to joy. In addition, I believe that it is the ability to learn how to control your disappointments, which means that you must not let them grow, and instead learn to go on and make use of whatever life has given you. If you make a few straightforward adjustments, you may completely transform your life. A focus minute is when you concentrate on something, and your brain has to figure out what that thing does. In addition, meaning is what gives rise to feelings. Isn't it true that your life is where your emotions are? And so the quality of your feelings is directly proportional to the quality of your life. There is a pattern that all of us have of concentrating on what we have and at times on what we do not have. Which one do you believe the majority of people place the majority of their attention on? Where do they stand, and what are they lacking? Your life may be engineered to have more happiness, but I believe the true problem is thinking so little about being taken seriously. You can engineer your life to have more happiness. Your fears are just represented here. Do you agree? The level of comfort you may have with simply being your authentic self is what I consider to be the essence of spiritual development. When people talk about spiritual development, they are not referring to religious development, and I believe that is not a simple undertaking, because each of us is attempting to become something, but the truth is that we already are the thing that we are attempting to become. This does not imply that you cannot improve, however, it is similar to accepting and appreciating what you truly are. Instead of projecting something else, it eliminates a great deal of pain from your body, eliminates a great deal of wasted energy, and causes a great deal of fears to simply vanish. I do not have a simple solution for this. I believe that it is the journey of the hero. How do you feel? I have completed my duties if I work my tail off right now. Let's get this done, shall we? Okay, now come through me. Moreover, it has a tendency to flow. Either life happens to me or I cause life to happen to me. I see. On the other hand, life happens to me. Indeed, is asserted that to me this it's true. Constitutes an excellent reframe. It's true. Indeed, I have complete faith in that. The only way to find it is to dig. Without a doubt, it is not simple. One must work hard to earn it. Do you agree? It is a form of delusion to want for confidence without having the ability to achieve it. If freedom is something you desire, you have no evidence to support your claim that you are able to do this. If you really cherish freedom, you won't be able to have it for as long as you continue to play the role of the victim. All of stuff does not contribute to your identity. There is no control over where you are in your life because of it. To put it another way, have you ever experienced something in your life that was truly terrible? In other words, it was hurtful. You would never want to experience it again in your life. 1,000,000 years from now, you would not want anyone else who is important to you to go through it. But after 5 or 10 years you look back and you say that you would not want them to go through it. Despite the fact that I do not wish to go through it again, I can now see the value in it. To my relief, it did. For some reason it made me care a great deal more than I did before. It gave me a great deal of strength. As a result, I felt something greater in me. To put it another way, I'm sure you can empathize with that, don't you think? Yes, without a doubt. You don't really know that it's simply life until you learn a little bit more about yourself, and you start to realize, well, look at all of the ways that I've had to compensate for it. I mean, you don't really realize it until you learn so much more about yourself. Take a look at all of the ways in which it has delayed my progress. When I consider all of the views that I have about myself and God, I find myself thinking, if only that hadn't happened, then I would be here, or I would be there. You then come to the realization that in most cases the things that I am most proud of myself for, are the things that are on the bright side of all of those problems. Indeed, the fact that you are the one. If you were to spend some time by yourself when you were younger, it could signify that you would be able to fend for yourself when you are an adult. There is also the possibility that the fact that you did not have to provide support for you, indicates that you do not care about working on your own accord, and carrying on with the risk of placing a wager on yourself, and so on and so forth. As a result, you find yourself inside of this really peculiar loop where you start from the fact that you have somehow been through something that you really despise to this kind of understanding of how it has held you back to this awareness of how it has propelled you, and then you have to get to this really tough place, which is okay, is an example of unconscious incompetence. This is something that I kind of wish hadn't taken place in the first place. On the other hand, I am thankful that it did. In addition to this, it is similar to a psychological superposition that you need to retain in your thoughts at the same time. It is not possible to reduce it to a single unit. Both of these things are required to be held by you. I'm thinking, yeah, that's a fucked up. Similar to how that shouldn't have taken place. Like, I truly hope that, and if you had been able to see you, how would you have been able to see you at the age of 12 when you are 36 years old as well? You would have taken them up, given them a hug, and told them, I believe in you, and you don't deserve this, but it needs to happen to you. It was meant to be.
You would have said this to them.
Right now, I don't believe that everything is meant to be understood. Situations, in my opinion, are predestined to occur, and it is up to us to decide how we will make use of them or how we will allow ourselves to be used by them. Do you agree? That, in my opinion, is the key difference. On the other hand, I believe that we all experience both easy and difficult times. And why is that so significant? Due to the fact that you are now aware of who you are. It is a really serene experience if you have completed the task from the beginning. You have a really wonderful lady,